Chris Scalzo here with The First Run, and this is the latest episode of The Great Unwatched. This is where I discuss and review all the films I've blind bought over the years and never got around to watching. You can actually check out the first episode below in the link. It is the Spanish horror film by Jess Franco, Bloody Moon, and it is something. So as a palate cleanser, I thought we'd start with the Criterion box set of the Lone Wolf Cub series, and I'll probably pepper these through as I go through stuff that maybe not quite as good. And we're going to start off with the first film, Sword of Vengeance, directed by Kenji Misumi. It's screenplay by Kazuki Kyoki and Goseki Kojima. Timisabaru Wakahama, he plays Ogami Ito. He is the star of our film. He is our lone wolf. He's a disgraced former executioner to the shogun. He currently wanders the countryside, pushing his kid around in a cart. Our film opens, I should say too, it features, there's a banner on the cart that reads, "Child and expertise for rent." So he's clearly looking for some work. So we're rolling the cart along and a young distraught woman runs up. She's clearly mentally unwell. She pulls the kid out of the cart and proceeds to breastfeed him. This woman's mother comes along and explains that her child has recently died and she is just overcome with grief. So Ito basically gives her a pass, says don't worry about it. She offers to pay him. He goes, the kid was hungry anyway, don't sweat it. But this whole thing triggers a flashback where we get what happened. So it turns out Ito was set up by the shogun's inspector because he wanted to be the executioner. So Ito ends up witnessing the murder of his wife. Now it's up to him to basically he's roaming the countryside trying to stay safe and protect his son and find a new life. So we enter into a village and they discover that the whole town has been overrun by Ronin. They are ransacking the town, doing horrible things, and he is approached by a royal official who offers to hire him if he will kill his rival and his rival's compatriots. So there's also a weird thing that happens in the film where first he's initially captured, he has to surrender his sword, and then he's held hostage. And they force him to basically, in order to save his life, he has to spend some time with a local prostitute. And the way that plays out really is to illustrate that even though he may be willing to do some really dark things, he's still an honorable man. So the film, though, I will say, really delivers. It's well choreographed martial arts, along with some really great 70s era exploitation, violence, and gore. Really delivers on those fronts. The wrap-up has a kick-ass showdown in the center of the village where the baby's cart ends up being probably more tricked out than James Bond's Aston Martin. There's also a great closing scene that really exemplifies Ito's separation from society, where he no longer feels he can be part of a group, even though they beg him to stay, offer him home and work, but he clearly has more things to do and he has to move on. Sword of Vengeance is lean and mean. It's heartwarming, kind of, as well. And I gotta admit, Wakayama delivers the goods. It's a very understated performance where he's still able to emote the shame of the loss of his position, but you still feel the warmth and care and love he has for his son, surrounded by all of this hyperviolence. So I confess too, I found his rather pudgy build slightly endearing. Not quite sure why, but the care for his son is palpable, and the warmth the film presents really balances out all the violence. So another thing too, I should note that the fact that you can tell this is sourced from a graphic novel is pretty evident in the way it's shot. It does kind of have a linear serial feel to it, at least in the framing of the film. So the first four films were all released in 1972. And as I said, we'll probably pepper them through as we go. The final two, one was in 73, one was in 74. They're all part of the Criterion box set, which you can pick up now. It's a beautiful set, and I can't wait to dive into the rest of them. So is it worth a blind buy? I would say certainly. Criterion has done an excellent job with this, and at least this first film, this 2K release, is stunning. It is a beautiful film. It is at least the way it's cleaned up and the way it looks. But it's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it. So this was a nice breather. Next up, not quite sure yet. There's still a ton of stuff. I have so many films I have to go through. Hopefully it won't be something horrible again, though Bloody Moon does have its merits, I guess. Any thoughts? Leave us a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Check out the show at thefirstrun.com. We are available on all your podcasting platforms. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.